thought today we should talk about bottom bracket tools. I've just got an array of stuff here that we found works really, really well in our workshop here. Stuff that over the years we've broken, found better solutions to, collected stuff, and yeah, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that we use. And hopefully for home mechanics, you might find this really useful, because hopefully you take on all the experience of all the tools that we've destroyed over the years and can hopefully make some better buying decisions when you're creating your own home workshop. And actually, it sounds like there's quite a few other workshops out there that like our channel and chip in, and we're learning from you as much as you're learning from us. And it's such a cool community going on down there. Now, talking about the community, yesterday's video where we talked about rim brakes was astonishing. The comment section was absolutely alive. And I just want to say massive thank you to everyone who chipped into that conversation, because I swear to God, if you scroll through those comments, you would have learned more from that comment section than you ever would do reading a magazine article, going on a course, or watching a GCN video. The input that came out of that was incredible. I learned so much. I've definitely learned that we're in quite a unique situation here, in the sort of living in the Cumbrian Lake District, which is very wet, very steep, very potholed, rough roads. And apparently there's people in Miami who are reporting that they can leave their front door and ride their bike and never touch their brakes until they return back home and have to stop for the front door, which sort of blew my mind a bit, really, and completely changed how you guys are approaching this whole subject of disc brakes and stuff, because it was way more diverse. And I'd never, ever in a million years imagined that someone from Miami, for instance, would be watching this little channel. And I totally appreciate that you do and love it. So learning loads, and actually some really, really cool stuff came out of that. One particular comment that really, really caught my eye was the idea of a time frozen group set is probably going to be really, really required, because there's still loads and loads of good quality bikes out there that are still needing these components, and we don't need to upgrade. It's almost irresponsible to sort of force that forced obsolescence upon us, if you like. And the idea of a frozen in time sort of Ultegra classic group set, I guess a little bit along the lines of the GRX limited edition, is a really cool idea, where we sort of freeze it at 130mm axles with quick release, hyperglide cassettes, 11 speed, caliper brakes, and actually having a set of cranks, that are really, really versatile, where you could buy your cranks and your chainring separately. So you could buy cranks from like 155 up to like 175mm, and then choose the chainring combination that you want from like, 30, 46, a 32, 48, right the way up to like a 36, 52. I think that's actually a fantastic idea. I hope someone from Shimano is listening. I know that someone from Shimano was listening when we did the last one about the Di2, because I complained about that little box not being available, and all of a sudden one arrived very, very quickly. And so I think definitely people are watching videos out there. So yeah, Shimano, if you're listening, this idea of an Ultegra classic range is definitely pretty exciting. We've also raised the questions of the new GRX group set has got to be literally just around the corner. It cannot be far away. That is in sort of not desperate need of an upgrade, but you can feel it coming, because everything else has sort of been upgraded around it, and it's sort of feeling a little bit swamped, I guess. So I think the new GRX group set cannot be far away. I think it's definitely going to go 12 speed, definitely going to go micro spline. I don't think they're going to keep that 10 speed option. I think that's going to go as well. But yeah, interesting to see what that happens. And then Tiagra group set, I am really eagerly awaiting the Tiagra group set, because that is a group set that actually is the sort of the home mechanic, the thinking man's group set, if you like, when you've been sort of invested in your frame and you've invested in your wheels, and that's sort of taken up the bulk of your investment, and you know that the group set doesn't really make that much difference to performance and ride, and you can, get a really good, reliable performing group set at not a lot of money with Tiagra. So I am looking forward to that. And will they have a rim brake option? Let's find out, I suppose. Okay, anyway, learning for the day, incredible. So these are the tools that we kind of use. Now, I'll come to these in a second, but over the years, we've been buying lots and lots of different things. And I guess quite similar to many shops, we always sort of lust after like the Park Tools components and have that idea of like a big row of Park Tools. And we definitely find that Park Tools, although they make some very, very good stuff, they also make some questionable stuff. I think we definitely don't use Park for Allen keys anymore. I think we definitely use like things like Weira pliers, for instance, that make terrible pliers, and like general sort of shop tools where we sort of tend to work with Nipex is our preferred tool manufacturer. But then wheel building tools, they've always been quite good at, but bottom bracket tools always used to be the domain of Park, but I don't think they're there anymore. We got a whole load of these sort of Park tools. I know that they've improved these slightly, but we have had the improved one. They don't work as well either. And we've had similar sort of things from Abbey and Wheels Manufacturing, and these sort of aluminium CNC'd machined things. These just don't last at all. They sort of made the mistake of having a 3/8 drive on the one side, and it just gets absolutely chewed to pieces by breaker bars. The interference is they're just not tight enough. They just wobble, and by the time you're cranking on one of these, they come apart quite quickly. We've also had some of these split, and they actually get loose quite quickly. So we definitely invested in these and really didn't get on with them at all. And then probably about 2 years ago, we started to find these from IceToolz. And now IceToolz is one of those crazy brands where you'd probably normally just dismiss them. They're not renowned for making great quality tools. And then out of nowhere, we found this fantastic range of like really good quality bottom bracket tools, which are standing up to taking an absolute load of abuse, daily use in a big busy workshop. And so they have a whole range of them, and these are definitely worth checking out if you sort of don't know. These tools here are, so we have the Dura-Ace XTR type tool. You see, these don't get an awful lot of use. There's not many people that want to spend that sort of money on a Shimano high performance bottom bracket. By the time you're spending that sort of money, you've probably chosen a different brand. Then this has the standard sort of Ultegra XT sort of level of stuff. And these are absolutely brilliant. So the difference is these are actually made out of a good quality tool steel, and they have a 1/2 inch drive on the back. So the difference is that you can get a proper 1/2 inch breaker bar on these. And you don't have to sort of stack them, you know, like some of the Shimano, the Park tools and Shimano ones, you have to put like another sort of bolt on the another socket on and then get a crank. So these just go straight onto a breaker bar or even an impact driver. I'll come onto that in a second. And they're solid. They're really good fit, and we haven't had any problems with these at all. And we have, this is the M091 model. This is for your standard sort of Shimano Holotech size before they started changing the sizes. And we have the 97, which is like SRAM dub, rotor, BB386 Evo, that sort of thing. And actually, the Park tool versions in these bigger sizes, they really fail quickly. The sidewalls get way too thin, way too quickly. And this one is completely and utterly mashed. I mean, this just needs to go in the bin, really. And the Shimano steps tool, actually, if you've got like an e-bike with Shimano step system, the M581 works superbly well. So yeah, I love these. They're sort of one of those little gems of a find that sort of came about of necessity, I think, somehow. And then when they started arriving, we started using them. They've just been proven to be absolutely bomb-proof. And, you know, we all tend to use them with a Weira half inch drive socket. These are great, especially if you're working on bikes like full suspension bikes, because you can sort of set the angle. So if you've got like an awkward linkage to get around, you're not constrained by having it exactly flat. And then these are actually super durable. You can really pull on these. The breaker bar is always a bit of a sort of last resort. Don't really like using these too much because they create quite a big sort of torque force, and it's easy for this tool to just dislocate and come off. You kind of need something there to really hold it on. And then the impact drivers, I know, are going to be massively controversial here, but actually these are great because when you do have a really stubborn bottom bracket, you can get one of these directly onto the impact driver, and you can really sort of put the bike on the floor, support it with blocks of wood, and really get your weight behind. And yeah, it's actually a really, really good way of removing, and it is definitely a removal only tool, really, really stubborn bottom brackets. It's a lot safer than trying to crank on it with a breaker bar. This one is pretty powerful. This goes up to sort of like 350 Newton meters, I think, which is enough for most jobs. But then every now and then we do have to crank out the 1000 Newton meter one. It's actually a YouTube short we went up. Let's get mechanic in. Recently, where we've had to use this. I mean, this thing was so stuck, and it makes short work of it. It just pulls it out nice and clean, no bother at all. And then just quickly, there's also the whole spline versions as well. Now this is a good example of where we started looking outside park, because the park tool only has a 3/8 drive on the end, or you have to use a 1-inch socket, which I guess in America is no big deal, but finding 1-inch sockets over here is a big deal. And then you sort of have this stacked, and you can imagine the situation where you have all of this stacked up trying to undo something that's under an awful lot of torque. Things just don't work that well. Whereas with the IceToolz, it's a really, really deep set of grooves on there as well, so you can really like get your tool into there and get it engaged really, really well, and it goes straight onto a bar. It's just, that is such a better way to work with, you know, really, really stubborn seized in bottom brackets. And then finally, just while we're on the case, the cassette tools as well from IceToolz, I have to say, are superb. Like, this is standard Shimano one with a 12mm glide. The park tool one just comes to bits, and it's not really deep enough for the SRAM XD drivers. The splines don't quite go deep enough, whereas the IceToolz one goes nice and deep. It's also got wrench flats on there as well, which are quite handy if you need to put it in a vise. But also it will go straight onto an impact driver or a breaker bar, and you just get so much better leverage and much more confident engagement with the tool. And so far, it's been proven to be super durable as well. So yeah, it's one of those rare finds, sort of out of nowhere, what was considered quite a budget tool brand. And I don't really use anything else from IceToolz. These are pretty much all we use. It's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're like home mechanicking and starting to invest in bits and pieces like this. Yeah, let me know what you think. Also, if you're a bike shop and you've got other great gems, please let us know. I'm really keen to know how anyone might be getting on with the Abbey bike tools. We've got a few Abbey tools downstairs, but I'm a bit wary about them all being made out of aluminium for the same reason that these park ones are. But yeah, I'd love to know if anyone's using them and how you're getting on. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Enjoy the football tonight. And if you're not into football, then hopefully this has kept you entertained for just a few minutes longer. All right, have a great weekend, everyone. Take it easy.